What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome to another Warframe video. So today we're talking about the Steel Essence nerf slash buff slash change slash information about how much Vitus Essence it's going to cost to get those new galvanized mods, because we now know how much Vitus Essence it will cost. And we're also going to just give a PSA on farm Steel Essence now before it becomes technically a lot slower. So before we get into it, make sure you're subbed to the YouTube channel and all that stuff, and let me know how you feel about these changes in the comments down below, because I do read the comments, and I don't have enough time to respond to them all. So I will try to make sure I respond to more of them. I know I've said that before, and I did respond to the video comments for a couple days, okay? I just gotta get back at it, and I do appreciate all the awesome comments you guys post and all the support on the channel. The channel's doing great. All right, so let's get into it. What's changing with Steel Essence? Well, if you're watching this during the Call of Tempestari update, the way that Steel Essence currently works is basically if you are in solo mode, you can you kill the Acolyte, because the Acolyte's the only thing that drops Steel Essence nowadays. It used to drop from Xmas units. It only drops from Acolytes now. You can let the Steel Essence basically just chill on the ground for like a good long while, actually. And these Acolyte enemies will spawn in the Steel Path. In an endless mission, they're going to spawn every, I think it's 3 to 8 minutes. And one of the things they'll be buffing, so let's start with the positive stuff, okay? When the new Sisters of Parvos update comes out, the Acolyte enemies are going to have a quicker spawning time. They currently spawn between every 3 and 8 minutes. They will start to spawn every 3 to 6 minutes. So the maximum amount of time that an Acolyte will take to spawn is going to be reduced. So in an hour, you should be getting, at very least, 10 Acolyte spawns. The Acolytes will drop 2 Steel Essence per kill without a booster. And if you have a booster, it'll be 4 Steel Essence per kill. And if you have the Smita Kavat booster buff, it's the affinity buff that lasts 2 minutes, that gets multiplied. So 4 Steel Essence becomes 8 Steel Essence. And the Smita Kavat affinity buff can actually stack on top of itself. So if you get one 2-minute timer, 120-second timer, and you get another one to go off during that, it multiplies the previous buff. So that 4 Steel Essence on the ground with 2 affinity buffs become 16 Steel Essence on the ground, and so on and so forth. You can get up to 30-something to 70-something if you get really, really lucky at the cat buff. So that's what we're currently doing in this video right here on the gameplay footage on the screen. Now what they're doing, and this is the big, it technically is a nerf if you are being a crazy person waiting around for the cat buff like we are right here. They are going to make it where that Steel Essence on the ground in solo mode will despawn after 5 minutes. So the fact that it despawns after 5 minutes, it's honestly not a big change for normal players that are not camping around the Steel Essence like a crazy person, oh yeah, give me a hit of that cat buff. For normal people, it's just you kill the Acolyte, you pick up the Steel Essence, you just go on with your day. For people doing what I'm doing right here in this gameplay footage, I'm killing the Acolyte in a specific corner, letting the Steel Essence stay on the ground, and waiting until I get a double or triple cat buff to pick it up. It's a massive nerf, because the thing is, we're getting 4 or 5 or maybe even more Steel Essence drops stacked up on the ground, and then we wait for the double cat buff. We're not going to pick it up until we get that double cat buff. So it's basically, we're going to be picking up 100 Steel Essence in an hour, basically, maybe even more, depending on how lucky you get. That will not happen anymore after this new update. The way we were talking about it just now, the least amount of Acolyte spawns you'll get in 1 hour is going to be 10, because if it was you got really unlucky, you were getting one every 6 minutes. The longest spawn timer after this next update, you're going to get 10 Acolytes in an hour. 10 times 4 is 40, and since it's only be on the ground for 5 minutes, you will never have a situation where it's just well, that Acolyte just died. Okay, there's Steel Essence on the ground. I'm going to let it wait. I'm going to wait until I get the cat buff and pick it up again. As you can see right there, I picked up a bunch. The screen was covered, actually, how much we got. But it was a lot. It was 50-something, I'm pretty sure, for 20 minutes of gameplay. This will never happen again after this change. And I'm going to show you as well, they're going to be doing the same change with Vitus Essence. You could kind of call it an exploit, I guess, but I'd say it's just creative use of gameplay mechanics. Which, you could always call that an update, or an exploit. You can call anything an exploit. You can call breathing an exploit, because it's making you not die, right? Alright, so here is going to be the changes they're making to this Steel Essence. Now, this was not actually in their dev post thing that we ranted about. It was actually in their YouTube video, and it was not in the dev post. But they've kind of clarified it right here. So, as we talk about how much Vitus Essence each of these new galvanized mods will be, because remember, they changed it so the new power crept, like Condition Overload for shotguns, Super Hell's Chamber, all that stuff, that's not coming from the Steel Path anymore. That's actually going to be coming from arbitrations for for Vitus Essence. Even the devs call it Steel Essence on accident, so I get a free pass there. These mods will be 20 Vitus Essence each. And also, they're going to be doubling the drop rate of Vitus Essence from the drones from 3% to 6%. And of course, that 6% can be increased by the blue resource drop amount booster. And also things like, the MR30 relay buff, all that kind of stuff. So, 20 Vitus Essence per, and, things like that. 20 Vitus Essence per. Now, the thing is, since it's 9 mods, you need 180 Vitus Essence to get all these. I'd say, realistically, you could probably skip on a couple. Like, maybe you don't like to use pistols for DPS. You don't need to get the crit chance one or condition overload for pistols if you don't like pistols. Galvanized acceleration will probably be the most niche of them all, giving you increased projectile speed and beam length on shotguns. Now, here's the thing. I said, do this while you can, as this rate of Steel Essence per time will not be the same after these changes go through. Because I don't want to call it like a straight nerf, because they are making it so Acolytes spawn faster. So, like, normal people, not, like, being a complete crazy person, just trying to get that next cat buff. Oh, dude, this is going to be the one. This is going to be the one. We're going to finally get the quad cat buff. Oh, yeah, dude. Quad cat me, dude. Like that, those kind of people, they're probably really pissed right now. And I was pissed at first, too, because it feels like every efficient farm involving Steel Essence gets nerfed. They actually really, really don't like efficient farms of Steel Essence. Because, I mean, there are ways to AFK farm this, to be honest. There's sabotage missions. When you do the sabotage mission, even though it's not an endless mission like we're doing right here, which, by the way, the endless missions are more worth your time, because enemies are going to drop loot and all that. If you do a sabotage mission and kill, like, 1 or 2 enemies here and there, the Acolytes will still spawn permanently. So it's like there's no need to like keep life support going or anything like that. You can just go forever, basically. And the way you can manipulate where the Acolyte spawns, a lot of times you're standing on top of like a high platform. Like, let's say I step on top of these little like barrel things next to me. The Acolyte would not spawn the barrel with me. They would have to find a spot on the ground that it would spawn at. And you can basically see how they're all spawning in that tunnel right there, all the Steel Essence on the ground there. When you find a tunnel like that, that's things you can do to make it the Steel Essence on the ground. I want to show you this is just going to be a rehash of a previous video from like a couple months ago, but I'm going to show you the Korra build I used for this gameplay footage and how you can farm Steel Essence before it's gone, probably the next couple of weeks. Now this strategy will still work once they nerf it where the Steel Essence despawns after 5 minutes, but, it will be, like I said, you're not going to be able to cat buff camp. You'll probably just want to put fetch on your build anyway, and if you pick up the Steel Essence, that's probably a good thing, actually. So let's show the build here. Now keep in mind, this is not the only way, and we're going to actually go over some in-depth tips as well, because I've learned some more stuff from people in Twitch chat and all that about ways to make this more efficient. So, the entire, super farm revolves around the mod called Charm for the Smita Cat. So, 28% chance every 27 seconds to give the owner good fortune. It basically cycles between a bunch of different buffs, it randomly picks it, and one of them is double XP and double loot. Like double resource loot, not double mod loot, double resources. And Steel Essence is a resource affected by this. It also works on Kuva floods and all that. So this is the entire crux of the farm. You get this to go off, you can manipulate it in some ways, and then you don't pick up the Steel Essence. Having a low-ranked loot absorption mod like Fetch is going to be your friend here. You can maybe even take it off if you don't want to have it, and you just want to be more safe. So this is the crux of the build. You also want to have Tech Enhanced to increase the duration of this buff, so you can actually stack up more cat buffs potentially. Now here's the tech I did not know about in my previous video. Equipping a bow, not the Kuva Brahma, and potentially not other bows with alt fires, will actually make it where the cat buff, so like I said, it cycles between different buffs, it picks them randomly. One of those buffs is an instant reload buff. Equipping a normal bow, like the Rakta Cernos, Paris Prime, blah blah blah, will make it so it does not give you the reload buff, and can make it so you potentially get more of the doubling loot buff. Now, I've done this about 2 or 3 times with this strategy, and I can say that I think it does work. I've not looked at game files like, oh yes, it does work. Confirmed. It's confirmed that it does work. No, it feels like it works. So equip a normal bow. I've gotten more cat buffs equipping a normal bow than I've gotten equipping no gun at all. So you can go no gun at all if you prefer as well. But I've gone with the bow, and it's worked out great. And the Korra build is actually focused mostly on range, because if you're running a good stat stick and all that kind of stuff, accumulating Whip Claw as well, you don't need any power strength at all to insta-kill all enemies with your Whip Claw ability. So the strat you want to go for, rope all the enemies up with your Ensnare ability, like, let's get like 5-10 enemies together, and then you're going to use your normal melee to build up the combo multiplier, because the combo multiplier from your melee weapon is going to apply to your first ability on Korra. So rope them all together so they're all sucked into one area, and you can just build combo off them, not even kill them, just build combo off of them. And have something, your stat stick is going to have Blood Rush and Weeping Wounds. Now this is a slash build right here. You can go for a corrosive build as well if you prefer, or a viral build even. And you don't want to run Condition Overload, because Condition Overload does not work on Korra's Whip Claw. We've also got, like I said, the slash builds. We've got Karnus Mandible. You can run Buzzkill if you prefer, which is going to give you like a little bit more slash damage, but it doesn't give you that status bonus. And to get red crits, you're going to want to run Blood Rush and Sacrificial Steel. Also, technically Gladiator Might, because that'll give you some more crit chance as well. And yeah, just go crit damage. No elementals needed. If you want to go for a corrosive build, like I said, I have videos of that on the channel, like somewhere out there. And your Riven mod, you want to just get upfront damage. Crit chance is nice on here too, but things like attack speed, etc., do not work on Korra. So you build up your combo on your melee, and then you start whipping with your one. What you want to do is basically, like I showed in the gameplay footage, you want to set up a chill zone of you are the whip master. Like right here, the enemies can't shoot me. I can kill them because they unnerfed Korra a little bit. So I go down here. It's my I'm the spider. This is my lair. But instead of making cocoons on enemies, I turn them into mincemeat with a slash whip that goes through walls. This is what you want to do. Kill enemies, pick up the endo, pick up the mods. You can dissolve the endo and you can dissolve the mods into endo afterwards to get like 20,000 endo in like an hour-long mission. I don't even, that's like a random guess, but like that's like around the kinds of amount you're getting here. We're getting credits, we're getting resources, and make sure the steel you have a good spot for the steel essence to spawn at, so you can wait for your cat buff to go off. And just, let's keep going over the build. Now, you don't need maximum range. We've got 250% range just to grab the enemies from far away. The range on your Whip Claw first ability caps out at 200% range. So if you're only caring about the Whip Claw, which for this build, you care about more than just the Whip Claw, go for 200% range. But this actually was really, really good, the way we have it. We've got Spectro Siphon from Gaara. So that's the Helmet Subsumed ability. If you don't have the Helmet abilities from Deimos, you don't need to do this, but it just gives you infinite energy, and it's really nice. You don't need to use like a single energy pad with this out, because it gives you enemies that die in the Spectro Siphon are going to have a 50% chance to drop Energy Orb. Since the enemies are they're basically pulled into the Strangledome, then our Spectro Siphon's underneath the Strangledome. It's like they're dying in this all the time, so we're like infinite energy technically. You've got Pilfering Strangledome. This will help you with life support drops to make it so you're just like, you're sustaining in a survival. I would definitely recommend doing survivals for this. Don't do it in Sabotage. Sabotage is a waste of your time because you're not getting endo, you're not getting credit, you're not getting resources. You can technically do it if you just care about Steel Essence, but if you're doing that, you might want to subsume on Protea's Dispensary instead of Spectro Siphon, because you're not be killing enemies, because you're no fun. You've got Arcane Fury, which will give you increased melee damage, so 180% for 18 seconds, and that works on Korra's Whip Claw. So the rest of the stuff, we also have this. Now this is important. If you're building up your combo multiplier on Korra, you want to make sure that you have Neramon Focus School, the Power Spike node specifically. Melee combo counter now decays while of combat by 5 hits every second instead of depleting completely. This is very important if you are using a stat stick. If you're not using a stat stick on Korra, you could just use like the Glaive Prime or something like that. Kill enemies in your Strangledome with the Glaive Prime, just heavy attack, slash procs, all that, and you will not need to run Neramon in that case, because the Glaive Prime does not care about combo. Well, it cares about initial combo with something like, if you have a God Riven, this is what you use it for. Pull the enemies in, blow them up with the Glaive Prime, and reap the rewards. Also keep in mind that faction bonuses do not work in Korra's Whip Claw. Alright, so that's basically the gist of it. Like I said, guys, I was a lot more mad about this nerf at first, and then I realized, I'm like, you know what? This farm sucks anyways. I hate doing this farm. You know what? This is one of the few times where I'm like, you know what, DE? Thank you for nerfing this, because this farm really sucks. I wish there was a better alternative to grinding out cat or waiting around for cat buffs like an insane person. But this is just the reality of them over nerfing Steel Essence farms on Odin. If they could have just banned the exploiters, banned the AFK macro players, but instead they punished us all. And now the Steel Essence is very time gated and throttled, where it's like, well, every 3 to 8 minutes currently, you get 2. That's all. There's the Steel Pass Stalker doesn't drop 10. There's no like special way you can farm it to get more. No. And after this change goes through, where it's every 3 to 6 minutes they are gonna drop it, as long as you can kill them. Let's not pretend that some people out there might die to the Acolyte, because if you die to the Acolyte disappears and you don't get that Steel Essence at all. So in ideal situations where you are insta killing the Acolyte and all that, then it's like, okay, well, every 3 to 6 minutes. But if you are like still struggling to get to this point, it's just throttling. It's more throttling. I'd say farm the Steel Essence while you can. Now that we know you only need 190 Vitus Essence, here's my recommendation to you for preparing for the new update. Get 190 Vitus Essence. After you get 190 Vitus Essence to get all the mods, or maybe just 100 if you want only a couple of them, start farming Steel Essence, because that Steel Essence can be, that's 72 Steel Essence in 25 minutes, by the way. Start farming Steel Essence, because this can be turned into Kuva, and every Arcane Unlocker on your primaries and secondaries will take 15 Steel Essence, guys. So if you have a good amount of weapons you want to put these Arcane Unlockers on, start farming now. Once you get your 15 or your 180 Vitus Essence. Like I said, they're also doubling the drop chance of the Vitus Essence from the drones, so maybe don't even bother farming it right now if you can wait a little bit. Because like if you think about like I want to put an Arcane Unlocker on the Braum, I want to put it on the Comb, I want to put it on this, I want to put it on that. We're already like looking at like a couple hundred Steel Essence needed to do this. I mean, like I want to put on the Cedo. Like there's gonna be a lot of weapons for me specifically that I want to put them on. So the Steel Essence farm. Of course, this is one way you can look at it. You can also look at it as like, this might be the only big update we get this year, so maybe I should just like, I can take my time. That's one way you could look at it. It's like, oh, we don't really have much else going on for the rest of the year probably. We'll see if they release something big at TennoCon, which maybe they will. And you're like, I'm gonna play the slow game. I'm not gonna put one on every one of my Kuva new cores. That's for sure. I'll put it on the Heat Kuva new core. I'll put it on the Akjagra Prime. I'll put it on the Athadai. Like, not everything, but some things. That's one way you could look at it. And hopefully this video is helpful to you. Like I said, farm it while you can. And I would say if you're going to be farming the Steel Essence or the Vitus Essence, do it with the booster. Because it's basically you're playing the game double as fast because you're getting twice the amount of drops. So, alright guys, I'll talk to you next time. Hopefully you found it helpful, and I'll see you next time. Peace.